13 steps to improve your critical thinking skills. Nowadays we are bombarded with information. We get fake news, there are social media bubbles, we get an increasingly polarized world and media. So this ability to look at evidence, evaluate the trustworthiness of sources and think critically is becoming more important than ever. Critical thinking is not about being negative or critical of everything. It's about being objective and having an open and inquisitive mind. To think critically is to analyze issues based on hard evidence as opposed to personal opinions, biases, and so on, in order to build a thorough understanding of what is really going on. And from this place of thorough understanding, you can then make decisions and solve problems more effectively. To put it another way, critical thinking means arriving at your own carefully considered conclusions instead of taking information at face value. So here are some of the ways you can improve your critical thinking. Always vet new information with a cautious eye, whether it's an article someone has shared with you online or any information related to a job. Always check where this information is coming from. Good questions to ask here include, is this information complete and up to date? What evidence is being presented to support the argument? And whose voice is missing here? Look at where the information has come from and question whether the source is trustworthy. What is their motivation for presenting this information? For example, are they trying to sell you something or get you to take certain actions like vote for them? Consider more than one point of view. Everyone has their own opinion and motivations. Even highly intelligent people making reasonable sounding arguments have personal opinions and biases to shape their thinking. So when someone presents you with information, consider whether there's any other side of the story. Practice active listening. Listen carefully to what others are telling you and try to build a clear picture of their perspective. Empathy is really useful here, since putting yourself in the shoes of another person can help you understand where they're coming from and what they might want. Try to listen without judgment. Always remember, critical thinking is about keeping an open mind. Gather additional information. Whenever you identify gaps in the information or data, do your own research and fill those gaps. The next few steps will help you to do this objectively. Ask lots of open-ended questions. Curiosity is a key trait to critical thinking. So channel your inner child and ask lots of who, what, and why questions. Find your own reputable sources of information, such as established news sites, not-for-profit organizations, and education institutes. Try to avoid anonymous sources or sources that have an axe to grind or a product to sell. Also be sure to check when information was published. An older source may unintentionally offer up wrong information just because events have moved on since it was published. Try always to verify any information with more up-to-date and recent sources. Try not to get your news from social media. And if you do see something on social media that grabs your interest, check the accuracy of this story via reputable sources of information, especially before you share any of this. Learn to spot fake news. It's not always easy to spot false or misleading content, but it's a good rule of thumb to look at the language and the emotions and the tone in any piece. Is it using emotionally charged language, for instance, and is trying to get you feel a certain way? Also look at the sources of facts, figures, images, and quotes. A legitimate news story will clearly state its sources. Learn to spot biased information. Like fake news, biased information may seek to appeal to more of your emotional logic and present a limited view on any topic. So ask yourself, is there more to this story than what's being presented here? Do your own reading around the topic to establish a full picture. And question your own biases too. Everyone has biases and there's no point pretending otherwise. The trick is to try to think objectively about your likes and dislikes, your preferences and beliefs, and consider how they might affect your thinking. Form your own opinions. Remember, critical thinking is about thinking independently. So once you've assessed all the information, form your own conclusions about it. Continue to work on your critical thinking skills. I recommend looking at online learning platforms such as Udemy and Coursera for courses on general critical thinking skills, as well as courses on specific subjects like cognitive biases. To learn more about this, subscribe to my channel, have a look at my podcast, and check out my new book, Future Skills, the 20 skills and competencies everyone needs to succeed in a digital world, where this is one of the key skills I cover.